We can't control everything around us, but we can control our thoughts and actions. Hi, I'm Jill Collins, your guide to mastering midlife. Today's guest, Paul Nadeau, delivers a thoughtful message on how to handle emotions and challenges we all face. Paul dives deep into the power of focusing on what we can control and why checking in with ourselves is so crucial. You'll hear Paul's reflections on how a little kindness can go a long way, especially when we're all carrying hidden burdens. Stay tuned for an inspiring conversation that will help you approach life with more self-awareness and positivity.
It's really important for us to remind ourselves that we've got it. We can only have one dominant thought at a time. Focus on things that you can control and not on the things that you can't. We have to continuously check in with ourselves, with our feelings, our emotions. People need to hear something kind because we're all suffering deep down inside. We have to examine what is happening in our world and why we're feeling the way that we are. There is goodness in this world, and I'm going to keep going on. We're more similar than we are different. And we may think that nobody understands what we're going through, but you've got a story, share it with someone else, because somebody just may need to hear that, and that may be the thing that keeps them going. A kindly word so often helps a sad heart on its way, although we do not always see the good it does that day. And when you think about that, it's true. Just a kind word, even at times like this, what people need to hear something kind, something supportive, something that they can latch onto, because we're all suffering deep down inside. And when we have somebody who reminds us that you have something to share, just as you have, I think that that makes people go is like, yeah, you know what? There is goodness in this world, and I'm going to keep going on. The great philosopher Socrates once said that an unexamined life is a life not worth living. And it's true that we have to examine what it is that is happening in our world and why we're feeling the way that we are. And when I talk about self-examination, I talk about people looking at things that are going well in their life and things that are not going well in their life. And if they can take 20 minutes, even a week or every 2 weeks to write it down on a piece of paper even, is that, okay, what's working well and what's not working well? Well, what's working well is this, this, and this. So we celebrate the things that are working well. We do the exercise. We celebrate the good things. We pat ourselves on the back. We give ourselves an extra treat, whatever. And then we take a look at the list of things that are not going well. Well, I feel so much stress because of what's happening in the world. Well, okay, how can I deal with this stress? What must I do to refocus on the fact that there's some goodness, that I need to do something for myself? I need to journal more. I need to exercise more. I need to get out more. And I need to switch off the things that are really hurting me. I can't follow the crowd. So this is where you do the examination, say, this is really hurting. This hurts me to think these things and to feel the way that I'm feeling. What must I do to get myself to a place where I can find some calmness in all the craziness? And we can do it. Viktor Frankl, the great writer Viktor Frankl, who was a Jew himself, and he wrote a great book, Man's Search for Meaning. He was in a concentration camp and could have been picked at any moment and killed at any moment. He observed everyone in that camp, and he observed those people who, despite their circumstances, found some purpose, some reason to go on, even if it meant sharing their last piece of bread with someone to give someone else hope. It gave them purpose. And he said that no matter what happens, he said, everything can be taken away from you but one thing, and that is your will, how you respond to life. And I think it's really important for us to remind ourselves that we've got it. We can respond by taking care of ourselves and by being deliberate with our thoughts. And what must I do? We can only have one dominant thought at a time. We can't have two thoughts at a time. We only have one dominant thought. So by policing our thoughts, by checking in with ourselves regularly, what am I feeling? And sometimes your body will tell you. You'll feel an uneasiness, a tightness in your chest. You'll feel itchy or something along that line. Check in with your thoughts. What's my dominant thought right now? My dominant thought is that the world is going to end and I'm hopeless. Okay, well, check in with that, buddy, because it's time for you to change that dominant thought and to flip things around, because this is not serving your mental wellness. So it's important. There are three very important areas of focus that people need to be cognizant of and need to do it. And one is focus on things that you can control and not on the things that you can't. And a lot of us worry about the things that we can't control. 80% of worry is useless because it'll never happen. The things that we worry about 80% to 90% of the time, it will never happen. But we worry about it and it takes our energy away from us and it makes us feel bad and our lives are not complete. And we feel the struggles because we're worrying about things that won't happen. We're focusing on the things that are not within our control. When we switch that around, we say, what can I control? During the pandemic, a lot of people were worried about catching the disease. They were worried about this. They were worried about that. There was a lot of anger. There was a lot of division. The focus was placed on the things that they could not control. What they could control is turning off the radio or the news when things got so overwhelming and turning on something beautiful, like a motivational piece of music, or going to YouTube and watching something like your podcast, Jill. Like I can choose to switch something on to control my circumstances. I'm not defined by my circumstances. I define my circumstances. They don't define me. So this world in its uproar at the moment, there are certain things that we can't control about it, but what we can control is how we respond to everything, how we turn off the news. Go and exercise or have coffee with someone or get on the phone with someone that we love and that we admire, that we appreciate, and just be with them. That is one area of focus. Our focus determines our happiness. So if we're focusing on things that we can't control and things that are worrisome, then our happiness is going to suffer as a result of it. We have to focus on what it is that gives us courage and faith and hope and happiness. That's one of the great big areas of focus that we have to worry about, or not worry about, wrong word. We have to focus on what you can control. If we don't live our lives with intent, then we leave it up to fate or whatever. We live it up to circumstance. And that's not the right way to live our life. We have to live it with intent. And I believe that a lot of people fail in their overall happiness when they don't start their days off with intent. And we've heard this before. We've spoken about this in our room. But when we first wake up, a lot of people, they just think about their day. They may have set out their clothes the night before for their day. They rush, they grab their shower, they go for breakfast, and they head out the door. They're on their way to work, and they just leave their life up to chance. Whereas other people, they wake up and they take a few moments to be grateful. Hey, I woke up. A lot of people didn't. Across the world, somebody has passed away in the last 2 minutes. Somebody has passed away now. I got to wake up and I have a roof over my head. Boy, am I ever grateful. Who do I love? Well, and who loves me? If we're going to be good to the world, we have to be good to ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves. It's like being on a plane. They say, if we run into turbulence, if there should be masks that fall from the ceiling, make sure you put your mask on first, because if you don't, you won't be able to help the person next to you. And that's very true. We have to put our own survival masks on first. Is that I can't let the outside circumstances dictate how I feel. This has to come from me. This has to come from my choices. My choices determine my happiness as well. Choice is that 6-letter word that so many people take for granted. You choose how to feel. You choose your happiness. People don't give you happiness in a box. It's not like I come and I give you a box and say, hey, open it up. And you're going, what's in it? I say, oh, just open it up, Jill. Go ahead. Open it up. And you open it up and it's filled with happiness. No, that's something that you choose. If you open the box up and it doesn't have happiness, and you're disappointed. But if you open the box and it has happiness, that came from inside you. It's I didn't give you happiness. You gave you happiness. I gave you a way. I gave you an opportunity. I opened a door, and it's up to you to choose to be happy. We've seen this when people go into parties and they're really, their day has sucked and people have pissed them off because they never started their day off deliberately. They left it up to chance, and now somebody's angered them, and they go to the party, and guess what? I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun because I had a bad day and this person did this to me and this person did that to me, as opposed to reminding ourselves that, hey, happiness comes from inside of me. It doesn't matter what's happening in the world right now. I can choose to be happy about my circumstances and the things that are within my control. I don't have to live in the past. I don't have to live in the future. I can live in this moment and I can say, you know what, dude, you're going to have a good time tonight. I know the shit happened today. It was a rotten day, but guess what? I'm going to be happy. Hey, how are you? And then that energy, the transference of that energy will bring the same kind of energy back to us. What we give is what we get. One of the greatest lessons I learned is that you get what you give. Yeah. And if you don't give positive energy to the universe, to other people, you're not going to get it in return. If you give negative energy, or if you tell the world to go screw themselves, you give somebody the finger, the likeliness is they're going to give you the finger back and they're going to give you exactly what you gave them. But if I give you love and decency and respect and happiness, I'm likely to get back from you. And if I give it to myself, I'm likely to get it from myself. And the universe takes note. When you give positive energy, the universe says, I like this girl. I like this guy. You know, good things are happening to you because you're open for it. Your energy is positive, and I'm going to give you everything that you ask for because your energy demands it. So we get what we give. I remember after a beating that I suffered at the hands of my father at the age of 7, I wanted to become a policeman because I was watching these television programs when I got a chance to watch TV, or I had these detective magazines or Batman magazines, and I would read them. And I remember looking up at my father one day and saying, when I grow up, I'm going to be a policeman so I can arrest you and people like you. And that always stuck with me, Jill. And I still was a mess until something defining happened to me in grade 7. And in grade 7, I liked girls, and I was the mess of the class. I was the class clown. I was the one who was always failing in life. I could not pass a test. If my life depended on it, I was lucky to get 52 or 53 out of 100. It's because I never focused on learning. I thought, and I did have ADHD. I do believe that I did. I couldn't focus on anything. And I just believed the lies that were being told to me. Why can't you be with like so-and-so? How many of us have heard that? Why can't you be more like your sister? Or why can't you be more like this girl down the street or this guy down the street? Why can't you be more successful? Why can't you? And we listen to this BS that's fed into us until we challenge the things that we are told, and we start to believe in ourselves. In grade 7, when I was this disruptive kid, a teacher of mine, a Mr. Coggins, and I think Mr. Coggins was an amazing man. At the time, I didn't believe so. And for years after what happened, I didn't believe so until I did, until I reevaluated and I said, I think I know what he did. What he did on one day is that I was the loser. I was failing. Everybody was laughing at me. I didn't have any belief in myself. I thought, this is my life. This is, I'm gonna fail because everybody says I'm gonna fail, and I don't know how to study, and I don't know how to do anything. How many times have each and every one of us felt that? Because we didn't live up to the standards someone else had of us, or they were so botched up in their own life, they wanted to pick on somebody. Hurt people, and sometimes the people who say the worst things to you are the ones who are going through the worst. And it's not because they're picking on you, it's because their own life is shit. And they have to pick on someone to make themselves feel better. But you're right. What a valid point is that, how often have we heard that you won't make it, or you'll never get through this. You'll never find the job. You'll never find the girl. You'll never find the guy. You'll never do this. You'll never do that. And we listen to all this crap coming in until we don't. A lot of it comes down to examining what's happened and to really determine in our own selves where we go from now. Where do we go from here? Like, a lot of people say, so what? This happened to me. So what? I'm going to get over it. So what? And when we ask ourselves, so what? This happened to me. So what now? So what do I do now? Now that this has happened, so what now? Like, what can I do for myself now? It's important for me to examine what went wrong and to make the changes that I need to make in myself. If I have some responsibility, some accountability for the stuff that's happened, then I need to change myself. I need to be a better version of myself tomorrow. And this is one of the things that a lot of people, they compare themselves to other people. They compare themselves to the people who have the wonderful lives, the beautiful lives, or who appear to on Instagram. And they think, oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? Whereas these people may be going through hell themselves. I think we have to examine our own selves. Am I a better person than I was yesterday? Because I'm not the person I was 2 years ago. I'm not the person I was 6 years ago or 20 years ago. When I was in that classroom and the teacher was saying, everybody's going to pass, but you, I had to say, no, wait a minute. No, I don't accept that. That isn't my reality. And I did something. I did something back then, Jill. I went back home and I cried that weekend. I remember just crying myself to sleep and I did something that I'd never done before. I actually studied. I didn't know how to study. I had no study skills, but I started to pretend that I was the teacher. You just instructing the classroom from my notes. I had very few notes, but I had a couple of books and I would teach the classroom and I got this going, but I had two competing voices in my head. The one voice was saying, hey, Paul, what the hell are you doing? You're not going to pass this thing. Why are you even trying? And then that other voice was saying, hey, you know what? Guess what? You got a chance. Keep going. And we have these competing voices. And I remember just managing and going through it and saying, okay, this too shall pass. Again, I didn't think of those words at the time, but that was what I was doing, is that this too shall pass. What are you going to do about it? You just got kicked in the nuts. You just got kicked by the teacher who embarrassed you in front of everybody. Are you going to take it down? Are you going to take it lying down? Or are you going to have that rocky attitude that I teach many of my clients to have, is that life ain't all rainbows and sunshine. And when you get knocked down to the mat, it's up to you to get back up. Not everybody's going to pick you up. That's your responsibility. And back then in grade 7, it was my responsibility to do something about what I had been served. I had been served a bad plate. I had been insulted. I had felt humiliated, and I was either going to give up or I was going to get up. I decided to get up and give it my shot. Hey, this is stupid Paul. Stupid Paul's walking in to write the test on the Monday morning, and he's fearing, and I'm trembling. And my one voice is saying, oh, dude, you're going to fail. You always fail. You're going to fail. And on the other shoulder, I had this one voice saying, you know this stuff. You know, you studied. You know this. And I wrote it and I left it be. And then a couple of days later, what was normal in this teacher's class is that he would announce the student with the lowest grade to the front of the class. I know, it was the walk of shame. And Jill,
what a lovely uplifting teacher.
No kidding. No kidding. I think it was his version of tough love, as I said earlier in this interview, is that I think in his mind, he wanted to really push the buttons to get people to say, I've had enough. And this is what we have to do. It worked for me.
Okay, keep going. So tell us what happened. I don't want to blow it. Keep going.
No,
I interrupted the story.
Yeah. I love this story because it's a story about how we can actually change our circumstances even now. Is that sometimes the world pisses us off enough to say, I've had enough. I don't have to feel this way. I can do something about my circumstances, and I'll do the very best I possibly can. And this is what I decided to do back then. I decided I'm not going to take it lying down. And if I can give anything to your listeners, is having that Rocky mentality that life ain't all rainbows and sunshine. And if you get knocked down to your knees, if you stay there, you can stay there permanently if you choose to, but you can get back up and give it your best shot. And that's what I did. I wrote that test. The teacher came back a couple of days later, and Mr. Coggins started reading the names of the lowest graded students. And I was always conditioned to jump up out of my chair. Hey, 47. Oh, that's me. And I would get up out of my chair and I'd go pick up my paper. But I was ready, and I was ready to jump, and it didn't happen. And what happened was, I listened to him call name after name after name forward, and it wasn't mine. Halfway through the class, the students are looking at me and they're going, why aren't you up there? And I'm going, I don't know. And of course, there's two little competing voices. Oh, I know why. Because Mr. Coggins is going to make an example out of you. He's going to destroy you. He's waiting to put it all on you. And then I had that other voice saying, no, dude, you did good. You knew all the answers. You wrote all the answers down because you knew them. And I was the second last person to be called, Jill. The second last person. And that was a defining moment for me. That was a pivot moment. And we have to look at our pivot moments. When was it that I made the decision to be a winner? When was it that I, in my past, made a decision to stop this toxic relationship or to leave this toxic job? When was it that I, by choice, turned and took a different path that changed my whole world? Because that moment in grade 7 changed my whole world, because I started to believe in myself. I started to believe in what I could do. I didn't focus on what I couldn't do. I started to focus on what I could do and how I could change my circumstances. We have to find those defining moments in our lives and say to ourselves, I ain't my circumstances, or I ain't what you tell me I am who I am, and I define my circumstances. And those are the things that kept me going. One of the first things is starting your day off with intention by reminding yourself to be grateful for the things that you have, not to focus on the things that you don't have. That's an area of focus. I focus on what I have. I focus on what I can control. When you start your day off deliberately, you start it off with gratitude, and then you go into the closet of your mind. And in the closet of our minds, folks, there are 2 closets, actually. There's a hallway, and on the one side, there's this very, very dark closet. It has a lot of things that hurt us in the past, a lot of the anger of the world. It's behind those doors. We want to keep those doors closed. On the other side of the hallway is this brilliant closet filled with beautiful garments of hope, love, happiness, servitude, everything. You want to go into that closet every day and choose your attitude for the day. Today, I'm not going to let the world get to me. When things go hard, and I'm going to take some time for myself, I am not going to be defined by my circumstances. I'm going to define my circumstances. I am going to be of service to people. I'm going to have this attitude, and I'm going to take care of myself. And I think we have to remind ourselves to police our thoughts and to examine the times that we're feeling distressful and overwhelmed, and then change that. You're right. It's not always easy it's easy to say, it's not easy to do, but it can be done. And that requires positive thinking, but also a change in physiology. It really is examining our moods and moving beyond that which is hurtful. And yes, the world is still going to be messed up. There's still going to be some terrible things happening that we can't control. But in our own minds, in our own hearts, it's like that mask falling from the ceiling of the plane. I need to take the oxygen from myself here. I need to take a moment. I need to really focus on what I can control in this moment.
Things are not happening to us, they're happening for us, and we get to choose what we want that to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And we are not the victim of our circumstances.
And remind yourself every once in a while that you've been through shit before. You've been through hell. Like, you may have been at a very low point in your life. Go back, not to dwell in it. I don't believe in living in the past. I believe in examining the past only to help us with our current circumstances. How did I get through that storm? Who was it that was there for me? You made a very valid point, a very good point. You talked about surrounding yourself with positive people, because you are a sum of the people that you hang around with. And I think we have to turn to those people, to the ones that uplift us. And we have to remind ourselves that this too shall pass, in the bad times as much as the good. So let's make the very best of the good times, because they will be memories one day. We can add that extra kiss, that extra hug, that extra picture to the whole equation, and tell someone just one more time that we love them, because that moment is going to pass, folks. But also the dark times will pass too, and we have to have that faith. A lot of us have faith. We were born, wherever we were born, we were given a place to live and a belief system. But within each and every one of us, we have the power to believe in the very best, in ourselves and hopefully in others. And we take care of us first, then we can take care of others.